Hey, everybody. This is Warren and Julie,
Hi.
and we're glad that you're joining us today for our live stream. We're in Bulgaria at the moment, but we're going to talk today about our recommendations and suggestions of the best places to go as an expat if you're traveling throughout the world.
Yep.
Now, this is our year in review. So if this is your first time watching a video or live stream with Julie or I, let me give you a little background. Julie and I, we travel the world with our two dogs. You may hear one eating in the background right now, so forgive us. They do their stuff when they do their stuff. So anyway, we are traveling the world with our two dogs, and we are trying to see what it's like to live in other countries, other places. We normally stay 1 to 3 months in a location, trying to share our experiences and our expenses with you. And so we hope you're going to subscribe and follow along as we travel. Um, you know, right now we're going to be reviewing our 2022 locations that we spent time at. So we had how many countries? 8 or 9 countries.
Yes,
We
8.
spent 8. So we spent time in 8 countries. We went to many more passing through, but our style is to spend 1 to 3 months somewhere to show you what it's really like to live there. So our videos kind of go in depth on a lot of the stuff that we experience and what our expenses are. Um, so we pick up our own ideas about, is this a good place for a retiree that's on Social Security, or would a digital nomad fit in better here? Is it
Correct.
somebody that's going to want to work in this location, or is it what's going to bring somebody here, and what's going to make somebody happy here? And so we're analyzing it not just for you, but for us, right?
Right. And what is it going to cost? I mean, simply can I afford to be there?
Yeah, we don't know where we're going to end up retiring right now. We're traveling all over the place trying to find the best place that we want to stay long term. So we've looked at where we went this year, and we wanted to be able to share with you what may make you happy as an expat or a nomad, whether you're on Social Security or whether you're a digital nomad, and where you might have the best fit.
And no place is going to be perfect.
No.
There's always going to be something that doesn't work for someone, but you know what? You're just going to muddle through in some of these.
Yeah. Now, let me, as we wait for people to join in here, and we'll start going down our list, I just want to make sure that you all know that we do have a website, warrenjulietravel.com, and we don't do any of these things like Patreon or, hey, buy me a coffee or give us money. But if you want to support us in any way, we do have an Amazon store on there, and it shows some of the products that we like and what we use or have used. And if you purchase anything through there, and if you continue searching, you buy something that we don't even want on there, maybe you've got some sort of other item you buy, we'll get some sort of little commission there. But also you have the link to our international medical insurance stuff in there under the services tab, our VPN recommendation in there. So any of those things may generate something for us. So if you wanted to support us, going through our website would be really nice. And helps us a little bit there. So right now we've picked up about 9 viewers, and let's I guess we'll go ahead and get into our list of where we went through in 2022 and give our recommendations.
And just to begin, we feel like any of these countries that we're going to talk about, you could live on with the typical Social Security income.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you bought a house, definitely you could. And no, you're not going to live a lavish lifestyle in some of them. You're not going to be able to go out to eat for every meal, but you absolutely could live and enjoy your life.
Yeah. And I would say that anybody in any of the countries and any of the locations we speak about today, if you owned a home there, you can survive on $2,000 or less as a couple, $1,500-1,600 or less as a single person.
Definitely.
And also with any of the countries that we're speaking about today, if you were going to rent there, you might as well add on somewhere between $500 to $700 extra. I mean, some countries are cheaper. Some places you could rent for a couple $100s.
Right.
So it just depends. But we just want to give the blanket statement on the countries we're covering today. It's not going to cost you an arm and a leg to live in, and if you own a home, you definitely can get by on a Social Security check.
Yes.
And or if you're a newer freelancer too, and your income is not that much on your digital nomad side.
And if you want to travel like us, it will cost you more. We have looked over the budget. I keep extremely good records. We're running in the $3,500 a month category.
Yeah.
So you would definitely need to be planning on $3,500 a month, in our opinion, minimally. Let
me caveat that. It may not be minimally, because we do $3,500 a month, but we travel with dogs, and we also have different requirements in our Airbnb. So, and quite honestly, you might be able to do it less than us, but we do it $3,500 a month is what we're averaging as we travel nonstop, typically staying 1 to 3 months in a country.
Yes, that's true. That's a very good caveat. So
let's hit the list. The countries that we went to in 2022, and the things we think about with expats or nomads that may want to go there, retirees. So ready, drum roll.
Number 1, Montenegro.
And for those of you that don't know, Julie and I, we actually own a home. Oh, where are we right now? We're in Bansko, Bulgaria. So that's where we are at the moment. And ski country, and we've got several videos out on Bansko. We did a couple of live streams on that, and we'll talk more about Bulgaria here in just a moment.
Yep.
So Montenegro, for those of you that don't know, we actually own a home in the old town of Kotor, Montenegro. Kotor is how it's spelled.
Kotor.
Yes, and actually our link for our home is also on our website. If you go to the service tab, you'll find our Airbnb link there, so you can see what it looks like and what it runs for if you want to go to Kotor and use it when we're not there. But we're in Kotor typically, 2 months a year, 3 months a year?
Yes. Right now we haven't been as much, but we've been trying to spend a lot of time just trying to figure out what we want long-term, in and out potentially. But yes, we'll be spending some more time there.
Yes. And as far as did we buy a home, you're talking about in Bulgaria because of our previous live stream. I'm not going to give any spoilers. So we'll talk. We won't talk about whether or not we decided to buy one here or here in Bulgaria. But as far as in Montenegro, yes, we do own a home in Montenegro. And let's talk about Montenegro. Because we're going to talk about 8 countries today, the ones that we primarily spent time in through 2022. So if you are in Montenegro, we will tell you, Julie and I, we love Montenegro. I love Montenegro. The beaches there, it's on the Adriatic. It's right south of Croatia, if you're not sure where it is geographically.
And it's non-Schengen.
It's non-Schengen. It's a great place to home base from if you're trying to do 90 days in the Schengen and 90 days elsewhere. So maybe you don't have residency in Italy, but you want to spend time in Italy. You can go spend 90 days in Italy, take the ferry from Bari, Italy over to Bar, Montenegro, and stay 90 days in Montenegro. But you do need to maybe go to Bosnia or to Croatia or somewhere for 1 day, because you need to have 1 day gap. Actually, not Croatia, because they're Schengen now.
Yes.
So maybe you go over to Serbia, you could go to Albania, but getting one other country in the mix, because that exit-enter day is the same, unless somehow you're timing it right on the ferry to where you're crossing at midnight.
And Matt is saying hello to us. Hi, Matt in Canada.
Matt in Canada, hello. And so we're glad to have you guys joining us today.
Yes.
So Montenegro, if you are a retiree or if you're an active person or a digital nomad, there's a place for you there. There's hiking, there's beaches, the cost of living, especially if you own your home, you could definitely get by in under $2,000. We've done a lot of expat interviews there where people are living on $1,200, $1,500, $2,000 a year. I'm sorry, not a year, a month in the location. So we do those expat interviews, have quite a few there in Montenegro. So check those out. So let's talk about the different locations. If you like the expat community, so that you have the ability to be around other people from other parts of the world, most of them do speak English when they're expats. You have the ability to get to quite a few different restaurants, do some sightseeing, and get together with groups of people that are maybe travelers or not locals. Being in Montenegro from the point of Petrovac on the coast, on the Adriatic coast, and all along the coastline to Herceg Novi, you're going to have a pretty good expat community there. And the Montenegro cost of living is much less expensive than most of Europe. It's a little on the high side for areas in the Balkans,
Definitely.
but especially in the area that we're speaking of, because this is a more highly desirable part of Montenegro.
And while you're speaking of some of these areas, somebody's asking about winter weather in Montenegro. And I want to say that Budva and Herceg-Novi are most likely going to be, or are mostly sunnier than Kotor Bay in the winter.
Yeah. And also if you're in the mountains, it's going to be snowy. But think of Rome. If you look at where Rome is and you go straight across the Adriatic, you'll hit Montenegro. So you have very similar weather. Not too cold, but not too hot. It rarely gets to where you get snow along the coast area. But if you're in the mountains, yes, you will get snow. So you have different areas there that are great. You got Herceg-Novi with long promenades. You've got the $1 billion yacht club and Tavat. You've got what they call the Russian Riviera in Budva, which is it goes way back in history, and that area is going to be where most of the tourists go, and that's where a lot of expats are. And if you go inland, though, you may see some cheaper homes there, but if you're looking to get away from everything, maybe that's where you want to be. But what did you think of Nikšić, the city Nikšić?
To me, Nikšić is, it's a locals place. It's less expensive. I don't know that I would want to live there. It doesn't have a lot for me. I'm a mountains person, and it's a little closer to the mountains. But again, I just it wouldn't be for me. It is lower cost of living, however, and you definitely could live there far less expensively than Kotor Bay.
Yeah, and Nikšić has some of the old communist buildings there.
Yes.
They've got kind of a nice little central part of the town, but the best thing about Nikšić is the bear. Nikšićko is the local Montenegro bear, and it's around the region, and that's from Nikšić.
And Cetinje is right up near Lovćen National Park. Now, I probably could find a home there and be pleased. The expat community is growing there. We actually know someone that is moving there. And so, it is growing. And if you enjoy the cooler weather like I do, you would definitely enjoy Cetinje.
Yeah, and
it's the old royal capital too.
Yes, so it has its own types of charm. There are some ski areas that are opening up, but they're not developed enough for us to recommend that you go live in those ski areas at this point.
There, though.
Yeah, maybe 5 or 10 years from now, they're trying to develop that winter tourism. Right now, there's big summer tourism destination in Montenegro.
Definitely.
Then there's the capital of Podgorica, probably one of the ugliest European capitals. But they're trying to change that. They're putting up some new buildings, but it's got a lot of the old communist influence left. Right. And for a country of 600,000 people, that's the major city in the country. I think it's got about 30,000 of the residents there. So that's the biggest city in Montenegro. If you're in Montenegro to have a regular professional job, or you're opening up a regular professional company, that's where the airport is. That's probably where you're going to want to be. It's about maybe a 40-minute drive to get to the closest beaches, but it's nice around the landscape around there. You got Lake Skadar, but the city itself is not something you're going to want to take a bunch of pictures of and say, look at them in Podgorica.
We're hoping eventually they will make it the city it needs to be.
Well, let's talk about the other part of the beaches in Montenegro. So if you go to look at a map from Bar, going south, Bar is kind of an industrial area, but there's good homes there. There's beaches. It's starting to develop, I think.
It is.
And there's a ferry that takes you to Italy from there. And there's also where the train ends that can take you all the way to Belgrade if you wanted to take the train. But if you start going south of Bar, you've got some very nice beaches, but you're not going to have the expat community down there very much. And the English speakers will start to diminish.
It is a big sandy beach, though, in Elsin. So.
Yeah, and you get more of the Albanian influence going towards Albania there. So that's it doesn't quite feel like the same Montenegro. It is
less expensive by far.
Yeah, so if you go there, Montenegro is not a big country. So if you choose to go there and you still want to do stuff with the expats that are living up in the other area, what are you going to do? Drive an hour maybe?
Right.
So it's not like you're going to be completely out of touch, but we prefer the area along the coast, basically from Petrovac up to Herceg-Novi, anywhere along the Kotor Bay area.
Yes, Petrovac is a very nice place.
So again, you can live in Montenegro easily as a couple under 2,000, especially if you own a home. So what's the next country?
So we are going to discuss Schengen as well as non-Schengen today, because we did a lot of Schengen. Slovakia.
Okay.
Stunning country.
Yeah. So we did not. Now we do videos on most of the places we go to, and sometimes we choose to skip it if we're not spending like that full month or 3 months, where we can get that real feel on the cost for you. And so when we went to Slovakia, it was a shorter stay when we were there, but we fell in love with the Tatra Mountains area on the
it's breathtaking.
Eastern side.
Yes. Yeah. And there's this gorgeous lake, Strebski Plaso. And we highly recommend it. There's, if you love the mountains, that's a great area. Poprad, Poprad, great little town, cute little downtown.
Yeah, Poprad is right on the base of the mountains where all the ski resorts are. And I actually did do a video that I did release. It was a short one, but sometimes for whatever reason, this I don't want to badmouth the venue that we're on. This starts with a Y and T. Sometimes they throttle back the videos, and I don't know why they do that. So we released the Slovakia video, and I was getting like 30 views an hour, and after 3 hours, going towards 4 hours, only like 120 views, and so I shut it down. Maybe I'll re-release it at a time, but that. I don't know what was going on with there. It was getting typical views and likes percentages, but the low view count, it just led me to believe that, this is going to hurt the overall channel algorithm. So I nixed the Slovakia video.
The way that we saw it, it's lower cost living than it would be in most of the Western countries. And restaurants and groceries, in my opinion, looking at it, we're very similar to Romania and Bulgaria.
And by the way, we will get to Poland, but because somebody's asking on there.
We definitely will be talking about Poland.
Lots of time on Poland, because a lot of information on Poland.
Slovakia was so very clean in the areas we visited. So again, beautiful, beautiful country. There are some residency options, but they're not real easy. But again, you have 90 in and 90 out. You could really enjoy it 6 months a year if you wanted to.
Yes. So Slovakia, it's worth checking out, especially the side that most people think of, the Bratislava side. The picturesque side with the Tatras over there by Poprad. It's worth going to.
And yes, Mike, Slovakia is Schengen, definitely. But again, like we said, 90 in, 90 out.
Yeah. So if you fell in love with Slovakia and you don't want to get residency there, pop down to Montenegro for 3 months. Then pop back to Slovakia for 3 months. You go back and forth.
Exactly.
So you do this little Schengen shuffle. That's how you can stay in Europe without having to get residency somewhere. And if you want a car, you just go check out our information about how we have our car from Bulgaria. And I guess also we get a lot of questions about pets, so I'm going to divert real quickly. International Living TV that we're doing episodes for. Their first video that we sent to them, we sent them 4 videos. They decided to do the pet video that we did for ILTV, will be how to travel with pets on January 25th. ILTV will be releasing that. And because this is the first year, they're going to have that on their YouTube channel. So I will get those links. I'll put them into our website, and I'll try to put them through our Facebook group as well. So you can follow us and get that link to follow that there.
And I think we should talk about Turkey. And everybody knows inflation right now is insane.
Yeah. So Turkey. Okay. So we have been to Turkey a couple times. We've spent a lot of time in 2021 as well as 2022 in Turkey. And we had some very good experiences there, and we like Turkey, but the costs have changed. And so they're no longer the cheapest country on our list of countries that we went to we
Well, they are and they aren't.
Yeah.
Restaurants, groceries, absolutely still
housing, no.
there.
Housing's gone.
It depends on your area though. I mean, Antalya is definitely, it went up 100%. So we loved it. We loved our time. We just left. Just short time ago, we hit our 85 days and needed to head out.
Hold on one second.
Yeah.
There's a question about the 11 months if you have residency in Montenegro. So to go back to Montenegro, so there's several different ways to get residency in Montenegro. You can open up a corporation and pay a minimum monthly tax and be able to leave the country more often if you want to get residency in Montenegro that way. We won't go into all of the residency options for each of the countries, but most of these countries have options, and we've done videos on the options for residency. So I'm going to ask that just because we got so much that we're going to cover on 8 different countries today, that on the residency stuff, check out those residency videos because there are residency options for Montenegro. But if you're doing it because you own a home, then yes, it would be 11 months that you have to stay in country. If you have a reason that you need to leave, you can do 2 months of leaving. But they want you to stay in the country at least 10 months a year if you are doing residency in Montenegro. But if you're doing it for 90 days, you don't need anything special. You go in 90 days, leave for 90 days, you can come back 90 days. Yep. And okay, so Turkey. We love Antalya. Probably one of our favorite places that we travel to. There's a good amount of restaurants. There's a great expat community there. If you're a digital nomad, this is one of the best places to go to. There's a digital nomad co-working space there. We did a video with them. Great community. And I was at a great international event with these co-working people watching the World Cup. There's probably was about 70 or 80 people at one of these bars that we were watching. But if you want to work outside the States and you want to be able to network with people, that's a place as a digital nomad. You want to go spend 90 days. You need to get e-visa to go into Turkey for 90 days. So that's
about
really
$50.
easy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Super simple.
And so you get that e-visa, you go into Turkey, you can be there for 90 days. So we recommend Antalya for digital, to get my tongue twisted, digital nomads. There's also great places in Istanbul, but I think the vibe, if you just want to be with that community and get that beach vibe type of environment, and the people that were just exciting. So I would say Antalya's digital nomad community at the co-working space there. Again, check out the video on the co-working space.
Yep.
Alanya,
we didn't do this. Well, actually, we did this year.
Yeah, it was earlier in the year.
In February, March. We did. And Alanya is actually a nice community. It's totally different to me. It's kind of smaller Antalya, but it's still a city. Crazy traffic from time to time. They don't have quite as much of a public transport that we noticed, but it's a nice place. However, the residency options there are more limited right now if you wanted residency because there are too many foreigners.
Yeah. So what's going on with the whole country of Turkey are a lot of communities for residency have been taken off from being options for residency because there's too many foreigners there. So they don't want it going over 20% in the community. So if it's gone over 20%, they are not allowing new residency applications for that community. So if you're looking for Antalya, Laura Beach is a good area to check out. It's still available. Fethiye, big popular place for the Brits. The British are there in big numbers, 5,000 or 6,000 live there year round, but they also get swarmed with Brits during the summer. However, this was kind of unusual this year because of things going on with Russia and Ukraine. There are a lot of Russians in Turkey at the moment. And
all of our neighbors were Russian.
Yeah, so they've been driving the prices of real estate through the roof. So this is why we can no longer say they're the cheapest place for real estate out of the countries we're covering today. They are maybe the third now. There's a few countries that are maybe much more attractive if you're going to buy real estate. There could potentially be a bubble there. I'm not quite sure if the war ends. Everybody might take off and leave.
Yep.
And then the housing could come back down. medical there, we've learned, is pretty decent.
It is. It's outstanding.
So if you're a retiree and you're looking at going there, we went to the private hospital. I hurt myself, so you can see how I got sick and injured. I did a video on that. We spent a lot of money this time in
yeah, we did
in Turkey.
We did.
We also did some chiropractic work there and some other stuff that I still have a couple Turkey videos, so that will come up in a Turkey video. So Fethiye, great if you're looking for English expats. So if you're a retiree on Social Security, you're going to love it there. That's going to be a great location for you.
Well, originally when we got there, I thought it was far more expensive than Antalya, but what I guess I didn't really realize is Antalya had risen beyond it. So the inflation's just really high. I mean, restaurants definitely went up. You know, you are getting more lira to the dollar right now, Turkish lira, but again, you're paying more. We definitely noticed. Actually, I actually did it on. I did. I calculated it at numerous restaurants because we actually have video where we can see it, and it was 30 to 32% increase in restaurants and groceries for us from the time we left in March of this last year, 2022, and returned in October.
Yeah, end of October.
Yes.
Yep. So the Turkey's still attractive, but it's changed a bit financially there. And so our two recommendations, retirees, if you're looking for the expat community, Fethiye. If you're a retiree or digital nomad, Antalya. Antalya's got great medical on the private side. Don't know if I'd recommend the public medical, but the private medical was great.
And somebody just asked a question, and it goes into something I wanted to talk about. And it's, have we found any methods of finding anything cheaper than Airbnb for 3-month stays? At this time, we have not. And I want to bring up that I have noticed because we started this journey in January 2021 for Europe. We have seen a huge increase just in Airbnb cost. Yeah, so there's so many people. Yeah. And I mean, I can no longer find anything with our filters, what we're looking for.
We have a lot of demands.
We do. We need a washer. We need Wi-Fi. We need parking.
Dog friendly.
So, by the time, and kitchen. And by the time it's said and done, we're pretty far down the list, but I'm lucky if I'm finding anything under 1,200 out the door.
Yeah, so you guys could probably travel less than us if your demands are not as high, but
I've heard Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah, I was gonna say some of these Facebook groups, if you get on there and you ask if somebody knows about a local place, so, and we recommend that you go to those Facebook groups and get to know other expats. So just look at expat in the city you're looking for, and you'll find or foreigners in that city, and you'll find groups, and then you can find people hitting the ground to go do things with, but also letting them know you're looking for an apartment. People may have recommendations, so you can get something that's not on the Airbnb, but that's possible. If you're a digital nomad, if you connect up with the co-working space in Antalya, they may have some leads for you based on what your demands may be. And when we get to Bulgaria, co-working Bansko, if you're looking here, they've got some apartments I think that they have some connections with that might be able to help you out as well.
Right. And one thing you can do that I've noticed, again, is you can start typing in, for example, like we're in Bansko, Bulgaria right now. So if I'm looking for a group that maybe has some rental homes or rental apartments, I'm going to start typing in Bansko, and I'm going to type in rent. And then I'm going to try a search, and I'm going to see what Facebook has. And in this particular community, there's a bunch of people that will advertise apartments here and there.
Well, I guess what we should do is let's finish up Turkey, and then do you want to transition to Bulgaria next?
Sure, why not?
Okay, because we're like crossing.
Yeah. So the next one we're going to talk about is Çanakkale. So Çanakkale is up just below Istanbul. Yeah. And honestly, we didn't see much of an expat community there. Lower cost of living. But one thing we're
still on Turkey, by the way. So Çanakkale is in Turkey, right at the border of Europe and Asia, south of Istanbul. And it's not far where Gallipoli is or where the city of Troy was. So we went to hang out there. But I guess we're
We
not going to
left-
recommend. Yeah,
we left early.
Yeah, we were not going to
Yeah,
recommend
we
that
left
as a
early.
location. So if you're looking for places and just like saying, "Oh, this might be an interesting place," um, I wasn't too impressed.
Right.
Um,
And it brings up
I
something.
need to bring up
Yep.
something that everybody needs to know. If you're considering Turkey, we try to share our experiences and expenses with you. We try to put out as many videos as we can. And a video that I'm going to be doing, and I'm going to, because I've got some video on this, and it's pretty unfortunate. In reality, it really was a surprise for us when we left Antalya to leave the country in the winter months. We were coming over the mountains from Antalya, and we saw a bunch of brown smog over the city. And we stopped at a restaurant, and they said, "Well, gosh, I hope we just get in and out of there real quick." We didn't know that when we jumped into that smog, we were going to be in there for hundreds of kilometers through the inner parts of Turkey.
And it was crazy.
All the way, it's like.
And we checked the air quality.
Air quality.
And it was tremendously off the charts heavy.
Yeah.
And so we have to tell you that if you're going to move or stay 3-4 months in Turkey, you need to, if you're planning to do the winters, is where I would say especially, you need to go there, check it out for a couple nights, see what's going on, check the air quality.
Well, I'm going to tell you, stay on the coast. Fresh Mediterranean air, stay on the coast. That's going to be your best bet. You get into around the city of Izmir, there's so much pollution coming out of there going to the heading to the east.
We couldn't even see.
Yeah, we drove through wine country coming down, we saw it, and then we drove out, we never saw wine country. So where they've got the grapes and the vineyards,
Yep.
you know, it was so smoggy. We're driving through broad daylight. Literally you had about a 30-40 meter visual in some areas because of the smog. So as much as we love Turkey, I'm going to tell you the interior part can be pretty.
It was pretty shocking. We had heard there was a little pollution, but we were pretty darn shocked on this one. I wanted to talk about a little place we visited that I totally fell in love with, Akyaka.
Oh yeah. I was like, where is this?
AKA again in Turkey. Gorgeous, quaint little town. One thing I do have to say on some of these though is if you were going to live there full time, you're going to have to realize it's going to be a very sleepy town in the winter. These are little resort towns, but you can get really great deals.
So Akyaka, from what we can tell, this is going to be primarily a place where Turkish tourists go. And so you won't have a whole lot of expats there. You do have some of the menus in the restaurants will have an English version, nice sandy beach. A lot of what are those guys called? Kite surfing.
Yes.
Really, really cool place.
Best strawberries I've had in years.
I'm just going to tell you, if you go there, just expect that you may be one of the only full-time foreigners living there, and that's not a bad thing.
It reminded me, and it reminded a friend of mine or of ours of Carmel in California. I mean, it is just beautiful, very upscale looking, but not upscale priced. So we were really excited with that area. I tell you, I was ready to buy real estate as usual.
Yes. Okay. So Turkey, still good on it, but there's places that you want to steer away from.
Yep.
Okay. So we want to talk about Bulgaria, since we've already been kind of talking about Bulgaria a little bit. And so if you're joining in a little bit late, we're reviewing the countries we visited in 2022 and giving you our pros and cons of different areas of what's good for an expat or a retiree that wants to live overseas, and giving you the ups and downs of locations, because I know we've had a lot of people join us late, and this will have a replay. So if you missed the beginning part where we spoke about some countries, you can jump in and watch that on the replay later.
And real quickly, while we were on Turkey, are restaurants and markets open in a place like that that we're mentioning? Yes, they are. You're going to have markets. Restaurants, you're not going to have as many, but you're going to have some.
Yeah, we were there in the off season, and we had restaurants.
Yeah.
So we're going to skip over to Bulgaria because we've been talking about Bulgaria for a bit. So we've been all over Bulgaria. We spent most of our time this year on 2 visits to Bansko. We went to Bansko on our way down to Turkey and stayed for a while in the off season when it was a ghost town, because we heard so much about the the growing nomad community here, the digital nomad community. And this is a ski resort location. There's a great golf course. And so they've got life going on here from December 15th until mid-September. And they've got river rafting, kayaking, great place. But this was a boom town, then it went bust, and then it's a boom potentially again. So we have 2012, or was it? No, 2008. The housing market burst in the US and all over the world, happened here. They had these huge monstrosities of apartment complexes, condo complexes that just went belly up before they all sold or got completed. And so you had these unfinished monstrosities of buildings here. And so right now you have what looks like new building going on. Some of them are the ones being refurbished and brought back online. Right. They've got the gondola here for skiing going right now. We had a ton of people visiting up through the New Year's timeframe. So we got to see all the tourists here. The ski season has been slow to start because of the lack of snow, basically. Yeah. So it normally opens December 15th. We're hoping to get a good amount of snow for January 9th or 10th. But the ski resorts are relying on some of those snow cannons. But you can get homes here for the price of a car. So we did a video about homes when we were here before, and they ranged in price from I think $28,000 to $63,000. And we just went looking at real estate the other day, and somebody wanted to know if we bought a home here. That's going to be disclosed in a future video. We went and looked at some homes, and really impressive real estate here, very inexpensive. You can Airbnb them out, or you can come here, stay for 90 days, leave for 90 days. But the one of the negatives potentially is right now this country is not Schengen. So it tried to go Schengen, which means it's part of the group of 27 countries. You can only be in that group of 27 countries 90 days, every 180 days. You got to kind of think of that whole Schengen zone as one country in a way. And they tried to go Schengen this year, them in Romania, and all of the Schengen countries have to vote in favor of them. And Austria and Netherlands blocked Bulgaria from being able to join the Schengen. And if they go Schengen, that means you've got to share the same 90 days with all these other countries. So if you want to use this as a home basis traveling, you have to realize that you might not have that same flexibility. But you can always go 90 days here, then 90 days to Turkey, 90 days here, 90 days to Serbia or Montenegro, if that's something you prefer. Those are non-Schengen areas, or Macedonia,
Georgia.
Yep. So you've got options if that's what you want to do. But if you want to do Bulgaria and another Schengen country, it's not going to work. Residency, though, if you're a pensioner, there's options here. If there's freelance stuff, digital nomad stuff. So check out our residency videos that we've done on Bulgaria. If you're digital nomad, this is the other big hotspot. This is where Digital Nomad Fest is. They had like 500 or 600 digital nomads coming here to Bansko, Bulgaria. But we think Bansko should be on your idea list potentially if you wanted to hang out and have a lower cost of living, because the homes here are cheap, the rent here is cheap, especially for long-term rents.
And we do have somebody asking if you need a vehicle here. We have ours.
Yeah.
I have to say, there are buses. We haven't tried public transport. You can walk around all over Bansko, but
the digital nomads have there's options to get from the airport from Sofia up to here, and so we know that there's options for people to get up this location. And then there's so much of it's walkable if you're here in Bansko. One thing is we've had somebody that was concerned about air quality, because down in the lower part of the town where the locals are, the old homes, a lot of them will burn wood. And somebody brought up air quality here in Bansko as an issue, and over in Rajlag. And to be honest with you, Julie and I didn't really notice anything with the air quality until somebody brought that up like that to one of our viewers. And we just like when we were in Big Bear in California, the ski area, or Tahoe, or going anywhere, you smell the wood burning in the fireplaces. Just kind of has that feeling of being in ski country. We just smelled the burning wood smell, right?
Right.
And we didn't really look at it as being a poor air quality. But if you're sensitive to that, you want to stay up in the higher part of town, not the lower part. up by the gondola, up by the area we are right now, where it's sky's crystal clear blue, and I can see the stars at night. So I'm not seeing that pollution. But if you have a sensitivity towards that type of smoke, because people are burning wood in their fireplaces or burning wood in their heating system,
Yep.
just the lower part of the town has more of that smoke buildup.
And somebody's saying when they stayed here in October that there was a smell from the bathrooms that they stayed in Airbnbs. I've found that happens in Europe some. It's older piping. It's
hit and miss. It's going to be where you're staying. It's not going to be.
We've been lucky
everywhere.
here in Bulgaria. I can tell you, actually, I had a few times in Turkey that happened to us, but Bulgaria, I haven't had it happen. So,
but yeah, this is our second time staying this Airbnb because we liked it a lot, and we show that in a video.
And somebody says that Bodrum is a great place, which we know it's supposed to be. We just haven't been there.
That's part of the problem. Julie and I, because we travel and we try to stay in one place for 1 month or 3 months in a country, we try to see as much as we can, get that real experience about being somewhere that we don't always get to everywhere, because we're not like we got some great friends, Dabble and Travel, Matt and Molly. If you haven't seen them before, they're our kids' age. They're like 24 years old. We met up with them in Veliko Tarnovo and here in Bulgaria. We got some sightseeing with them, and we keep in touch with them. But Matt and Molly, they are jetting from one place to another place. They're here for 3 days, there for 2 days, and that's not what we do. We love those kids, and they give some great tourist type information. So if you haven't checked out Matt and Molly, their channel is called Dabble and Travel.
That's a little hard for us.
Yeah, we don't have that same lifestyle, but if we were younger, we'd do it like them. And they say when they grow up, they want to be like us.
And while we are talking about Bulgaria, Mike is asking if we spent time on the Black Sea coast, and we have. Yes, we did. Not this year.
Yeah, it was last year. We were in Varna. We did Varna, Plovdiv. We did Veliko Tarnovo, Sofia. And we like Sofia. We made some friends down there. Very friendly country here in Bulgaria. And let's talk about this as a thing. Turkey, you got a lot of friendly people. Bulgaria, you've got a lot of friendly people. Montenegro, you get tons of people. It's so easy to make friends there because there's so many expat groups and expat things going on. And just the cafe culture, you just end up meeting a lot of people. So it's not a lonely place. And and Varna has, down on the Black Sea, was a place we like if you're if you get a chance to retire and want to be on the sea and do some fishing, and good place to be. Plovdiv, great central part of the town with the pedestrian zone, popular with younger people, digital nomads. Veliko Tarnovo, we like it. I don't know if we would be occupied enough there. I think it's just a little bit too small for us to live there full time in Veliko Tarnovo. I shouldn't say too small, because it's probably a bigger population than here in Bansko, but Bansko just seems to have more to do. Yeah.
There's just a bigger expat community here of people that speak English, I think.
And then
to tourists renting apartments in Turkey. I don't know anything about that. That's new.
From December. It's going to be based on location. We did do a residency video, so if there's any questions on the Turkey current status on some of these things, we've got our expert Selma you can reach out to. But like Laura Beach, you can do a residency, and also sometimes the rules are based on your country. Mm-hmm. So I'm not sure of your background, but if you're American, you have some different rules sometimes that play than some other countries.
And I will say, as far as cost of living here in Bulgaria and Bansko, I do find that the restaurants are higher than obviously higher than Turkey by a good margin. We actually have seen it about 40+%, but Turkey's unusually low.
Yes. So Bulgaria, digital nomads, I can't emphasize this enough. This is the place in Europe if you're a digital nomad. Mm-hmm. This and the new place in Antalya one just started like 10 months ago, and it's grown so big. And here in Bansko, this is where Digital Nomad Fest is. This is a place that if you're wanting to live overseas and start your professional career doing your freelance stuff, and you want to network with people, those two locations are going to give you the chance to get to know other people that have skill sets that you can work off of each other. And I think Alex, who runs the entire co-working space, was saying that the different folks there, the different freelancers, digital nomads, are hiring each other on projects. And so it's a great place to grow.
And we just got a question, which country has the easiest visa requirements for remote workers? Well, I'm going to tell you, actually, Bulgaria, our residency expert, there's a lot open for Bulgaria. There are some new digital nomad visas, but they require higher incomes, and that's Spain and Portugal.
And Montenegro just started theirs, and it mirrors somewhat like Croatia. So
those are some higher incomes.
It's a little bit more difficult.
Bulgaria has a really low income threshold to come in with it. Any chance we'll be visiting? I can't see what Trabzon. We actually we were thinking about maybe trying that this year. We will see. We're still, and Batumi. Actually, we were literally talking about Batumi.
When we close up on all the countries we did in 2022, we'll talk about the ones coming up here in 2023. So let's move on to our next country. So we'll head out of Bulgaria for the moment.
Okay, well, this person just real quickly wants to know about Akyaka. That's Akyaka.
Yes. And so let's, okay, Julie, you've got your list here. I don't want to go and double.
Okay. Romania. We spent 3 months almost in Romania, and residency options do exist. We have a residency expert we spoke to. It's not the easiest country to immigrate to, but again, 90 in, 90 out if you wanted it. Brajov, beautiful, beautiful city. I mean, the parks there are just picturesque. And, anybody who appreciates Transylvania, I love Transylvania. So I really thought Romania was fantastic.
Sibiu.
Sibiu is just adorable. Sibiu.
They've got a great expat community on Facebook, and we got out with them, and large groups of people of various ages, from being basically 20 something to 60 plus something. And
we made some friends there. We really enjoyed Sibiu, and I felt like at the time Romania was a little bit more expensive, but after traveling as much as we have and inflation hitting the way it has, it's not really any more expensive than other places.
I think Romania is where we first started seeing some inflation hitting from the Ukraine war.
We were there in spring.
Yes. So Romania, we like Sibiu, we like Brajov, good for retirees if you can get residency there, good for nomads, good place to go spend 90 days if you're just bouncing around. But they're not Schengen now, but they're trying to go Schengen. Let's talk Bucharest, though. Bucharest, most places we go, we feel very safe. We feel good about walking around at night. I don't ever worry about Julie typically, whether it's in Turkey, Montenegro. These countries are also safe. It's such a different world here as far as safety is concerned. But Bucharest, we stayed near the city center, not far from the old town. But this is like probably the location that maybe is like the one and only time we really had our spidey sense come on.
Yeah.
Things aren't right. We've seen some people there huffing aerosol stuff.
They were drunk or drugged, and
Yeah, so Bucharest has some nice parks, and there's some cool things about it. And you can probably live there. It's not probably unsafe, but there's some unsavory things there. And we were approached by some people asking for money pretty aggressively sometimes.
And honestly, we also were big on pet friendliness, and they were the least pet friendly city in all that we've traveled.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, we literally couldn't even sit on a patio in the Old Town walking district. This person, a couple of them said no, 2 different restaurants. So, it was a little bit like a turn off.
We didn't get residency in Bulgaria.
No.
We don't have residency anywhere right now. We had
we do
Turkish,
in Turkey.
Yeah, we have our Turkish residency, but we don't really use that because our car can't be in there beyond 90 days.
It'll be lapsing soon.
And that's a whole nother story if you want to watch our video on when we left Antalya or Alanya the last time. But Romania's got some good parts.
It does.
And some
great hiking.
Yeah.
Again, like I said, Brajov's just a really beautiful place. And I think if I went back, I would I would see it a little differently than I did, because at the time it was like, wow, this is just outrageously expensive. However, when you leave Turkey and go to almost anywhere else in Europe, it's a sticker shock.
Yeah.
You're used to I don't know, $5 each for lunch. And all of a sudden it's, I'm paying 10 and 11.
We were in Ecuador for 9.5 months, and the cost of living in Ecuador and the cost of living in Turkey, not too far off from each other, and very, very similar in cost. And we liked our time in Ecuador, but just like some other countries, Cuenca was great to be in. There's areas that are safe, but we felt a little uneasy sometimes in Cotacachi and Guayaquil, or Guayaquil. I can never say it right. And man, some of those areas can be a little sketchy, but other places like Mindo Cloud Forest up in Mindo or Cuenca in Ecuador.
Baños seemed very, first of all, there was no one there. It was during full-blown COVID time.
But that was in our 2020 video. So if you get a chance to check that out. So we're going too far back because we're trying to stick with what we did in 2022 here.
And Romania, I feel like the groceries were about the same as Bulgaria. So, I feel like most of these countries are coming in almost the same on groceries, just, for cost of living.
And again, if you're joining us late, all of these countries we're reviewing right now, you can live in on a Social Security check typically, because, Julie and I, we're different. We spend more than the average, but if you owned your home here in any of these countries we're talking about today, as a couple, you get by easily under 2,000, as a single person under 1,500. And that's just a blanket statement. Some places even less expensive, but we're just trying to be clear on that. If you're going to rent anywhere full-time or long-term, throw an extra $500. When we talk about here in Bansko, where we are, our realtor, Hristo, was explaining to us that a place we liked a whole lot, a 1-bedroom that we were thinking about buying, that if we wanted to rent it here full time, we might be able to, a long-term renter might be like $250 a month to rent, or euro or a month to rent there. So from an ROI, even though that place is like a $50,000 nice home, it was like, well, $250 to rent this. Well, sometimes you might say, well, look, if I do $250, spend $3,000 a year, and I just have this place year round. Maybe I come here for 5 months a year, but I just keep my stuff here, and it's $250 a month, like a storage unit in the U.S.
Cheaper than some of them.
So it's so that's one way to look at it as well. But if you're doing the Airbnb, you can command more money, especially during the ski season on a location.
And the country that has the most relaxed taxation for expats, well, I know Montenegro does have a low taxation. Bulgaria has a low taxation. And honestly, that's a question that we're still in the process of learning.
There's so many different tax situations on different places. Even Hungary has some tax advantages too.
And that's our next one, Hungary.
So Hungary, let's talk about Hungary real quickly. A lot of places we go to, we have different expectations. And when I went to Serbia for the first time, I had very low expectations, and they were blown away. Serbia was great. When I went to Turkey, my expectations were low. I was blown away. Normally, I'm positively impressed. When I went to Hungary, I had high expectations. It's a very pretty place to visit. Great scenery. The Parliament of Budapest is beautiful. The Fisherman's Wharf area is.
It's an Instagrammable picture place.
and it's a great place if you got somebody with you to enjoy the places you're going to. But it's probably after spending a month in Budapest, it's probably the one country that I can say we've been to and spent so much time in that we walked away without even really knowing anybody. We didn't really, our dogs, we'd make some friends sometimes at the dog park. We try to get to know people or see about getting together with them later with the dogs or something, and it never would pan out. And the Facebook groups were not really that great with getting people together and doing things. And from a standpoint of if you're not going there to work, but you're just going there if you want to retire in Hungary or you want to move to Hungary, it's probably one of the places that's going to be the hardest places we've encountered to get to know people.
Right.
We did have some friends that traveled through when we were there, so we had another couple to do some things with. But it was
Great friends.
It was a little bit of a surprise that after being in so many countries where everybody is so friendly and outgoing, some places you're American, they're very happy to get to know you. You do things with people. It was just kind of like crickets there.
Right.
I enjoyed hanging out with Julie. We did the parks. There's
Marguerite Park is breathtaking. It's it's just great.
Yeah, beautiful things to see and do. But
it's not that cheap. I mean, it's probably a little bit higher, I think, than Romania. Restaurants were running us a lot. I mean, we went to one where we had subpar food and it ran us about $28 for lunch.
Yeah.
So we were less than pleased.
I had a lot of videos that I was going to do on Hungary. And when I did the residency video, which I did do the residency video on Hungary, I wasn't inspired enough to be able to put my to be peppy about putting it out. So I've got some videos, and they could be really picturesque videos, and I could really pump up the place, and I could do all kinds of things to make it look like, oh, this is such a great place to be. But Hungary was a disappointment, and I just feel like, if I did the videos, I don't know. I don't know if I just didn't feel like I was being legit or honest or something. And sometimes if you got nothing good to say, you just don't say it.
Yeah, we focus on honesty in this. This is all honesty. It's all real expenses. And somebody just asked about healthcare comparing in these countries. I wanted to bring it up right now because our friends that we mentioned, they're from the United States. They were with us a lot in Hungary and again in Turkey. He did a lot in Budapest, and he was really pleased with the cost of it. And I mean, had some really, really great health care. And for us with Turkey, we had outstanding health care at pretty good prices. I won't say they were bottom level prices, but they were pretty good. And when we talk about Bansko, Bulgaria, we do have to say that for some sort of injury, something like that, it's okay. But we have been told that normal health care, if you had a heart issue, something like that, you're going to go Sofia, maybe Istanbul. But yeah, you're definitely, I wouldn't come here ailing.
No, this is going to be if you're more of a healthy, active expat. But regarding Hungary, now Julie and I, we're not bar hoppers. We're married, and so there could be a scene where, like, I went to I'm trying to remember what those pubs were called in the old
I can't remember either. That was not my thing.
There's a place where there's a bunch of ruins, and and there's like these bars inside these ruins inside of Budapest, and to me it seemed like there's mostly tourists in there, but potentially if you're a young person bar hopping, maybe you'll meet some people, but it was just depending on your social scene, maybe it would be easier to make friends if you're a younger person going out to the bars or something. But if I guess more, I don't want to say more mature, because there's still people party at our age, but we don't party that much. We just sometimes, but
more sedate.
Maybe it's more successful if you're there to work and you can get out to a party place. So
our friends Matt and Molly, that would be they would love it there.
Yeah.
And so I would say that the Hungary for us wasn't on the top of our list. We did go. I will say though, going back to that, public transport was outstanding.
Oh, at Budapest, yes,
outstanding. We did find that Budapest wasn't extremely dog friendly. We were turned away about 3 or 4 places we tried, which was kind of surprising. We really expected a different experience than that.
Yeah, I mean, the parks there were fantastic. We did picnics out at the parks and had some.
Oh, and going back to Bansko on pet friendliness, it has blown me away. This is next to Turkey. I mean, I am straight out saying we really are shocked by how pet friendly this little town has been.
Yeah. Yes. So we spoke on Bulgaria. We spoke on Hungary. What's
So
next on our
next
list?
is Slovenia.
Oh, Slovenia.
Oh,
Okay, so
beautiful country.
this is, I won't say it's like Slovakia, where I had the video that I did on Slovakia and I took it offline because basically it was going to hurt the algorithms because nobody was tuning in for it for whatever reason. Slovenia,
Is Schengen.
Slovenia is Schengen, and we like Slovenia, and we've been to Bled and Ljubljana, well, that's Maribor was this year, but we did Ljubljana and Bled in the past, and we really liked it. But we decided to go to the other side of the country of Slovenia. I went to Maribor this time, and it was a fairly low cost. It's one of the larger cities in Slovenia, but it's not a very big city. Great restaurants, great pedestrian area. The oldest wine vine in the world is there, and I've got a video I was going to do on that, and we were there for less than a week, but I was going to do the video on it, but I just didn't have enough content on the cost of living. We didn't have the residency expert, and to be honest with you, when we do the videos about cost of living and residency and our expenses, that's what you guys tend to show up for. And if we do a tourist video, which most of our Slovenia thing would have been a tourism type of thing.
Yeah. It is a picturesque place, though.
Yeah,
so green and gorgeous.
I do some tourism videos, but unfortunately, those are like our least viewed. And right now, for whatever reason, YouTube's been hating us and not getting us the exposure out there. So I don't know if putting out the tourist videos and getting low views, and then they decide to punish all the other videos that come out. So I'm just trying to focus on what you guys are looking for, and occasionally doing some tourism stuff. But I think it just unfortunately hurts the channel's algorithm numbers, and so.
And Slovenia has clean everything. I mean, it is a very clean country, organic food in a lot of places, outstanding place to be. I found the pricing to be really reasonable. I went shopping there, and I went to the Lidl there, which is similar to an Aldi. And I was really pleased with what I found.
Similar to Montenegro pricing, maybe?
I think it's actually less.
Okay, so
yeah, about 10% less, in my opinion, and a lot more availability because it's just got a lot of farms and different things that are producing food.
Now, if you're new to our channel and you haven't seen our Montenegro videos and you're not sure about Montenegro and you're joining into this late, and we covered Montenegro in the beginning, Montenegro is like Croatia light. You have Dubrovnik just across the border, beautiful place, and then Kotor, where we have our place, is like many Dubrovnik cruise ships go to Dubrovnik, then they come to Kotor. So it's a less populated, less expensive, easier place to get residency than Croatia, and it's not Schengen. So if you're a Croatia person and you think, oh, Croatia's where I've got to go, and check out Montenegro. You might be pleasantly surprised, and that might be the place you want to go. It's a lot easier to stay there.
And the thing is, you're getting ready to have harder and harder times with the Schengen shuffle, so you're going to have to start thinking outside the box.
And we did with International Living TV. We did send them a Schengen shuffle video, which is going to be pretty entertaining. We did the pet travel video that is going to come out on January 25th on ILTV. Yep. And again, we'll have links in our website, and I'll put them into our Facebook group, and I'll try to share those with you guys in whatever way I can when I have the links for the ILTV videos when they release them. But they've got 4 episodes at this moment, and they'll do 1 a month. So after Slovenia, what do we have? Poland?
I wanted to go, our thoughts on the best coastal city in Eastern Europe. I'm guessing Antalya. Well, I wouldn't consider it Eastern Europe. That's Asia. But where else to consider? Not looking for great beaches, but want a waterfront location.
Okay. So let's clarify the definition of Eastern Europe. If you tell somebody in the Balkan region, which is southeastern Europe, that they're in Eastern Europe, they're not going to be happy with
They'll
you.
be offended.
Yes. So Eastern Europe to the Europeans is Russia, Belarus, and Ukraine. Most of what we consider Eastern Europe from the United States is considered Central Europe or Southeastern Europe or the Balkans. And so that's what you need to look at. So when you look at the Balkans, it cuts kind of through Romania to Serbia, over to Croatia, on down to Greece. It's got Albania, it's got Kosovo. When we look at Central Europe, then you have Poland, you have Germany's going to be in there. You're going to have Romania. Bulgaria is part of the Balkan, Southeast Europe as well. Slovakia and Czech is going to be part of Central Europe. So our definitions growing up in the Cold War period of time versus what the Europeans call themselves is different. So when you ask about the best beaches in Eastern Europe, coastal
she says
cities,
she stands corrected anywhere we've been.
Yeah, so we like some of the places on the Black Sea were nice. There's the Adriatic is fantastic over in Montenegro. You've got some nice areas in Montenegro.
You're going to be able to rent cheaper and buy cheaper in the Black Sea, in the region for Varna and the different areas than you are with Kotor Montenegro area and Budva. The prices have gone up exponentially, honestly. We've actually taken a look at them.
And if you're also willing to consider places in Poland up on the Baltic, you're talking about seaside, because I don't know where the message went to on there, but if there was a specific sea that was in question. But I went swimming in the Baltic. It was warmer than I thought it would be in the summer, but of course the swimming season's
up near
less.
Gdansk,
yes, up near Gdansk, and so there's some beaches and areas up there, and so it comes down to where you're looking, but there is good swimming in the Black Sea, the Adriatic, the Aegean, and even up in the Baltic.
Yeah, that's true. And I would say Usin, down at the very bottom of Montenegro on the Albanian border, that actually has a huge beach, and it is a lot less expensive there. We mentioned that earlier, but that is an area that is waterfront that you could consider. There are so many places that have waterfront that we couldn't even go into all of those today.
Depending on what you want in your budget, you can, and what your priorities are.
Right.
And you can always do a road trip from the one part of Montenegro down to the southern beaches as well.
And Turkey has a ton of coastline. I mean, a ton. Just because Antalya has gone up 100%, just like the realtor that we went on the tour with. He said, you go down the road another 30 kilometers, 40 kilometers up the coast, and you're not going to have the cost that you would in Antalya.
Hey, Matt, if you're still here, I think your town is popular somewhere, and you're in Canada right now, but Matt, you were in a city on the other side of Turkey that has beaches. Put the name of that city in there and in the comments if you can, and because we haven't been there yet, but I think you were saying it was pretty decent.
I think it goes by Antioch, but I think there's another word for it. So now our final one.
Well, not final. It's the final of the 8 countries, but we still have some more stuff to talk about 2023. Yeah. So because I don't want people to say, oh, this is the last country, I'm going to turn off now. So Poland is a country that we have been very impressed with. There's so many cool places in Poland. And for those of you that aren't aware, on the Polish side, I am over 50% Polish, so we did videos on this, but I'm actually looking for permanent residency in Poland based on ancestry. I have 4 great-grandparents from Poland, and we have an application in the works right now with Poland. And if we get the Polish residency, we'll make that a home base for 5-6 months a year or whatever, and we'll still do our traveling. But there's some great places in Poland. And if you like Amsterdam, for example, and you're really big about that area, like in around the Netherlands, Gdansk in that northern Germany area, Gdansk is really got a charm that is, I'm going to say, is equal to being in Amsterdam, especially Gdansk Old Town. But the cost is going to be a third of what you're going to spend in Amsterdam. So if you want to get that type of vibe, although there's no red light district that I saw, but and I didn't see the coffee houses either, but it's got that same type of that charm. And so I think Gdansk is really worth checking out. And the
Definitely.
restaurants are not expensive, and it's just one of the most beautiful locations.
It is. And the food was outstanding. And really, I mean, we had a gourmet meal for 24 plus tip.
Yeah. And Krakow is where we spent most of our time. It's Krakow is how we've always said it in the U.S., but it's Krakow. Is how they say it there. So in Krakow, beautiful old town, dates back centuries, like the 12 or 1400s. While World War II destroyed much of the old towns of many cities, this is the original. When you go to Warsaw or Warszawa, that's the way they say it, Warszawa. Warsaw's whole old town has been rebuilt off photos, and it's beautiful and it looks authentic, but it was rebuilt after World War II. That's what happened with Gdansk too. Much of it was destroyed, but it was rebuilt. But these cities are spectacularly beautiful. The salt mine near Krakow is a must-see to go visit. You got cathedrals built out of salt underground, 1,000 feet underground, and you've got these beautiful chambers and carvings that took centuries to build that should be as popular in tourism books as the Eiffel Tower, but for whatever reason, because it was behind the Iron Curtain for so long, most of Americans and a lot of people in the West don't even know about it. But the salt mines there are.
And if you love the mountains, Szklarska Poręba and Karpacz and Zakopane, all gorgeous. Zakopane is in the Tatras, and man, if you haven't seen it, if you haven't heard of it, look it up. It is so
ski town.
Amazing. It's a ski town, but it's also a summer place. So Szklarska Poręba, we could not believe how absolutely gorgeous that is. That's closer to the Czech border. Actually, we crossed right into Czech right there, and we had to turn around because we didn't have the vignetta, which is very important for tolls. And so, you know, I found Poland to be one of my very favorites.
Yeah, and mine too. I think for a lot of people, it's undiscovered, but there's a good amount of tourism there. Right now, there's a lot of Ukrainians there. So a lot of the Airbnb prices are up, but there's a lot of refugees there. The Polish people have been taking really good care of the Ukrainian population there.
Yep.
So it's a you know, it's got a lot of great things about it. There is one thing that besides it's got the low cost of living, great food, great people, very nice people. The one thing you need to be aware of, especially in the winter, is that there is a lot of poor air quality in some of the cities, like Warsaw, Warszawa, Wrocław,
yes.
and then even Krakow at times. Now they've taken a lot of steps to clean up the air in a lot of areas of Poland. But this year, because of the war, they have allowed the burning of coal again. Some of these places or people, a lot of them have moved over to gas or electric, but so the air quality has been improving. So I think the air quality long term won't be an issue in the winter, but depending on where you are, there could be, especially if there's the older homes burning coal, that could be adding into the poor air quality. But there's typically good air quality in Gdansk. Part of the, besides it being a beautiful town, that's part of the reason we think Gdansk would be a great place to potentially set up a home for us in the future. And even if it's for you guys, you can go in 90 days, then drive out to somewhere else that's not Schengen, or fly somewhere that's not Schengen for 90 days.
Flights, let me tell you, I could not believe, I was curious putting in Gdansk and seeing where we could fly. And my gosh, you can go all over Europe, sometimes as little as $11. And that's a flight. So, I mean, you know, there's a lot that Poland has to offer. What I wanted to say is, as far as terms of cost of living, I track everything. Warren doesn't track it nearly as much as I do, but
I make the videos. She tracks everything. She makes our plans. She finds our Airbnbs.
Fuel in Turkey was the cheapest, all hands down, no doubt about it. Poland was the second cheapest. We were kind of surprised. Serbia was the most expensive during our travels, but everybody else was about in line with the rest. But the thing is that Poland definitely, with fuel, just blew us away. Groceries. very, very reasonable, so much to offer. Krakow had so many stores and so much public transport, fantastic. Restaurants, anything your heart desires. I think we even had Lebanese food. We had anything and everything imaginable. A restaurant that was just nothing but catered to a lot of pumpkin. So
yeah, it was very international. Somebody was asking if somebody can rent a home in Poland basically and leave for 90 days and come back for 90 days and pay the year-round rate. Yes, you can do that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So if you decide you want to home base yourself in a place in Poland and you say, well, I really don't want to be in Poland through the winter and I want to leave for 90 days and you want to stage your time to be there in the spring or the fall or something, and 90 in, 90 out. Yes, you can definitely work out something with the landlord. And
we look at these options quite often because eventually we want to do that. It's just, something of curiosity to us. And also people ask us these questions. So we try to be ready
and Poland, as much as we love it, and I'm working on the residency there, I'm going to tell you it's one of the harder countries to get residency in. So if you want to get residency in Poland, the easiest way to get to stay there for a year, maybe 2, is you go in and you do an application for language. If you go in there to do language courses, you can stay there and you don't really have to learn the language and you don't have to actually go to the courses from what we understand, but you have to sign up for the courses.
You should say that.
Well, you have to sign up for the courses and then you can
sign and pay for them.
Yeah, sign and pay for the courses. Then
a year and a half.
Yeah, you can
get a total of a year and a half.
But if you want to learn the Polish language and then try to develop the situation where you can get residency somehow and work with somebody, that's a whole nother story. But if you just want to go there for a year, you can do that. Now there's also a bilateral agreement in Poland that supposedly allows Americans to be able to stay in Poland, and then they have to cross the border for like 24 hours and they can come back again. And it's against the Schengen rules. And we spoke about that in our residency video. And the main reason I don't try to push that too much is I don't know anybody that's done it myself. I don't know if anybody successfully has done it. And it's such a something that not a lot of people know, that I don't feel comfortable telling you to expect that this is going to happen. I don't want you getting in trouble with Schengen, because if you end up in Poland and you're staying there longer because you've got that bilateral agreement, and then you decide you're going to cross the border and go over to Germany, you get in trouble. They look at your passport. You've been into the Schengen too long, then you get yourself deported and in trouble over there. Even though you were fine in Poland, it might get you in trouble elsewhere. So if you did that, you almost have to fly out of Poland unless you're going into Ukraine, which shares a border, which wouldn't be an issue. But right now, you might not want to drive to Ukraine,
which is something we had thought about before everything happened.
Because we love Ukraine. Lviv was fantastic. So the idea of going, I'm going to go from Krakow to Lviv, and Krakow to Lviv would be a great combination of low cost, high quality life.
Absolutely. Lviv was beautiful. So we did speak with our attorney about it. She looked it all up. She knew about it. But again, it's just not something that we feel really comfortable about saying, go for it and try that, because we certainly wouldn't want to see anyone getting deported or getting thrown out of Schengen for up to 5 years or more. So we definitely are very pro Poland. We love Poland, and there is just so much. I mean, if you love the mountains, it's there. The sea is there. It is cold in the winter.
So we're thinking if we end up with time in Poland, and we don't know what our life is going to be a year, 2, 3, and when we're going to really want to slow things down. But if we did get a residency there, we're thinking of, maybe we would go there from basically July to January or something, and then go somewhere warmer. But I wanted to be, I think it's a great place to be for Christmas and New Year. So I was like being in the Polish Christmas markets and the festivities and in that cultural thing. I find that very interesting and want to be part of that culture. So for me, even though it's going to be colder in the winter, I'm thinking, that would be cool to be in there in December and January. So
till you're standing out there in the negative temperatures,
but yeah, I like the idea of spending that time in Poland.
Yeah. Our friends' pictures definitely were like, we were a little envious.
Yeah, and again, it's a harder place to get residency, so that's a tough thing. But if you're a digital nomad, I would recommend going there, spending whatever time your country allows you to spend in the country, and then you can go to a different location.
Right.
Costs are really great, and there's so many good places to go and see. Check out our Polish videos.
And we found people to really be kind and considerate and easy to deal with too. They were very friendly. Just so many sights to see there. It's a country worth exploring, worth checking out. And if you love the sea, Gdansk is gorgeous. I mean, it's really beautiful. Yeah, you're going to be cold in that water. But,
so let's quickly talk about 2023, because I know some of you guys have been on here for a while. So we are looking at our next locations that we're going to go to. We're going to be going to Portugal soon. When we leave Bulgaria, we don't know if we're going back to Poland or going to Montenegro next. It's depending. If I get an immigration interview, then I'll go to Poland before we go to Portugal. We're just waiting to hear about that so we can get the permanent residency for me squared away if that gets approved. Then if we don't hear from them, we're going to go to Montenegro on our next stop, and then we're going to go spend a couple months in Portugal. And right now we have Lisbon and Algarve on our radar. We've been toying with the idea of going to Morocco. That may or may not happen. We are thinking about, and we'll do a little bit of time in Spain. We are considering putting in parts of Italy into our 2023, maybe Sardinia, as where the Centurions are, the Blue Zone, and checking out what life is like there in Sardinia. And we're thinking about potentially going to Batumi in the country of Georgia this year.
Depends on how many thousand kilometers we can handle.
and again, we drive everywhere with the dogs.
Yes.
So it really just depends. I mean, normally we plan things way out in advance, but we found that we've had to modify plans so much that we haven't been pushing this year out so far. And a lot of that has to do with stuff going on with Poland and the residency process.
It does.
So that makes it a little bit more difficult to make some solid.
We know a lot of people want to know about Portugal, and so do we. We actually have our own interest in Portugal. So
we got Malta, Corsica, Cyprus. What about that? Has Serbia already come up? Yeah, we spoke. We didn't do Serbia in 2022. We did it in 2021. We've been through Serbia. We love Serbia, and we love Novi Sad is a great place to go hang out. And we recommend Novi Sad as our number one choice for Serbia, especially in the Old Town area, the Petrovaradin Fortress.
If you love the mountains, Fruška Gora.
Fruška Gora. So we would love Serbia. Can't emphasize that enough. So if you're looking for a non-Schengen location, low cost of living, Serbia is definitely high on the list.
Cyprus, that's one that we're actually thinking about for 2024. We're thinking of northern Cyprus, the Turkish side, in particular.
And we've thought about Malta, and the thing is, we need to look at ferries to get our dogs to some of these places. As well as our car. So we try not to put the girls in a plane if we can help it. And so we are a little bit anchored down a little bit with that. Now, that being said, if we did get the Polish residency and we had a home for the girls all the time, then that might free us up to sometimes take some air travel, have a dog sitter, house sitter, while maybe we can fly off to Vietnam or Thailand or different places, go back down to Ecuador or something. But for right now, we have our dogs with us, and we want to make their life more comfortable. So right now we do everything with our car.
Right. And will we ever do a deep dive on Sarajevo or Belgrade? Belgrade, we've been a couple different times. Beautiful city. We really like it. Sarajevo, we've been.
Yeah, we've been.
We didn't do that on video because that was prior.
So I've been to 42 countries to this point. Julie's been to 39. A lot of we did a lot of traveling before we retired in March of 2020. So not everything that everywhere we've traveled has been on our videos. We haven't done Philippines here because that was before we retired.
Taiwan.
But in Taiwan, but so the thing is, if we did get residency somewhere where we can feel comfortable with having dog sitter, house sitter, good flights in and out of, then maybe we can do that. But our dogs are our babies, and leaving them for more than 2 weeks is going to be tough, and we don't like to put them in planes because for the dogs it could be a terrifying experience. So we try to minimize that experience of having to be put underneath the plane. If there was ever an airline that would let us put the dogs in the cabins with us right now and fly with them on our laps or whatever, then yeah, we would be buying those tickets.
Definitely.
Yes. So we've got a lot going on. Again, if you guys do want to support us in any way, we don't ever ask for any kind of donation or anything, but just remember, if you can, go to our website, and we do have an Amazon store. So anything you buy there, we can potentially get some sort of commission. And even if you stay in the Amazon area and do search and you go buy something that's not even related, we can get a commission from you going from our store and you can find the link at our website, warrenjulietravel.com.
And it's not costing you anything.
Yeah, it's not costing you anything different. And also, if you do travel and go international, if you use our international medical insurance through my system, you can also go there into our website and find the link under the services tab, or you can email us directly at warrenjulietravel@gmail.com. I'll send you the link if you need international medical insurance, so you can check that out and have that as you travel, whether you're an expat or just a part-time traveler. Also, we have our VPN links in there. If you purchase a VPN, we get a commission. So if you want to support us in any way, that would be really cool. Just go to our website, and typically if you're purchasing something through there, we can maybe get some sort of little commission.
Yep. So, and I think we should open up a Q&A. We said we were going to have a Q&A. We already have done some of them, so we'll give it a few minutes, see if anybody has anything.
Questions that we didn't answer, and I know this has been probably one of our longest webinars or live streams. Yeah. Yes.
I imagine everybody's just about finished with questions. I think we answered everyone.
Okay. So as a reminder, Julie and I were trying to share our experiences and expenses with you. We hope you're going to give this video a like, that you're going to leave comments. If you missed anything, the replay will be coming out shortly after we finish this, and you can go and watch the video fresh. And
did we?
And as far as Bansko, we're holding off on sharing whatever we've done as far as house hunting, in whether or not we bought a place, until we do the video on Bansko for house hunting.
Turkish tourist residency, no renewals either for existing 2-year residency holders. Is that a question?
I'm not sure on that. You can check with Selma, our residency expert. But as far as we know, that if you have a current residency, you can get renewed. And I think that's the standard process. But if you're in one of those closed areas and you try to apply for residency because there's too many foreigners, you'll get denied. So you want to make sure you're applying from a location that is accepting new foreigners in Turkey.
Indoor smoking? We can quickly cover that. I can tell you that is my one pet peeve with Serbia, to be very frank. I can almost not deal with it, and my little Chihuahua Yorkie cannot deal with it. That definitely is the one downfall with Serbia, is that indoor smoking. But in the springtime, in the summertime, even in the autumn time, if you can just sit outside and enjoy a coffee, etc., it's a great place to be. But definitely one of my top pet peeves, Serbia. Bulgaria, I'm not finding, I think they enforce their rules more. Almost all these countries, it's illegal for them to smoke inside. It's banned. However, are they enforced or not is the whole question. Montenegro is the same way. If you go to some of the more local establishments, not the ones in the tourist districts, you will find that they are smoking inside, and they smoke heavily inside, and it gets to you. But if you're going to the tourist restaurants, you're not gonna get that. And for the most part, I don't see it as much in Montenegro. Bulgaria, I've only seen it in one place here, and we walked in and walked out.
That was the outside enclosed patio,
Oh, it was
so
an
it
outside.
wasn't the
He's
inside.
correct. He's correct.
So
So I
they
think,
had an outside patio, they had an outside, they had an enclosed patio, and then they had the inside.
yes.
So
Poland, I cannot recall one time where we
no, there was
encountered
no
that.
smoking in any of the restaurants in
Slovenia,
Poland.
that's not allowed. Slovakia, we didn't encounter that. Romania, that was not encountered either. That was, you know, those are all very enforced. Hungary,
Yeah. So with us loving Serbia as much as we love it, the one negative is that there's more smoking in the restaurants.
yes, definitely. And
so I'm probably not going to go to this dating site somebody's putting in there. Find love on the new dating site.
where can we watch videos that we've removed from YouTube?
Oh, talk about the ones we did on, or I did on Slovakia. You know, I may re-release them. It's basically when I take them off and make them private, and then they're no longer viewable. Again, because when we do some of those tours videos or something, if you know, if I'm putting them out there and people aren't choosing to watch them, it's gonna basically hurts the algorithm of why we love our tourism stuff. We just don't get the views on them, and you know, like we did the gorge Alfetie with we went hiking, really cool gorge. I don't think that one's broke 1,000 views, and like our
I did a blog on it too.
Yeah, when we did Christmas video in Turkey, you know, that doesn't get a whole lot. It's so we know what our audience is looking for, but we still want to be able to share some things with you guys, and so sometimes we'll put stuff out there.
That one says, I loved your gorge video. Thank you. Indoor smoking should include electric cigarettes, but in Romania, they act like it isn't really smoke, it's electric. Do they really emit any smells or smoke?
So some of them will smell like cotton candy or have some sort of like odor.
So maybe there is a toxin that I don't even realize. That's interesting information I wasn't aware of. So thank you for sharing. But I definitely didn't even notice that in Romania. So I have to say that is the Serbia. That's my worst one for that. What percentage of your lives are taken up with videos and this type of content? Please each answer separately. His is the majority.
Yeah. Well, I won't say the majority of my life, but I try to have a balance on this because we're doing stuff now for ILTV too. So, you know, so I've made 4 videos during the last several months that you guys haven't seen yet because ILTV will be releasing those. And so that first one will come out on January 25th. And the videos, when I actually am making a video, they can take hours for me to make. We do videoing of experiences and sharing our expenses, and then I have to sit down, piece these things together, edit them, make a story out of them. And one video, not counting the time of actually videoing things, might take me 8 hours by the time I start working on it, by the time I get it saved and uploaded and everything
12,
done.
To be honest.
Yeah, so it could be pretty time consuming, not counting when we're out doing videos, but there's a lot of video I've made that has never been used. There's so much on the discs, or basically the memory that in the cloud that I've never even used in a video. So it's, you know, there's a lot of times we have ideas for doing videos that they're just doesn't fit into the schedule. So I have to have a happy balance and remind myself I'm retired and I don't want to make my whole life about working on these things. So, you know, maybe I'm doing 30 hours a week on video.
I will say when he's really into it, I'm getting to my frustration point because he'll get into it and he's there 8 hours doing this and nothing gets accomplished.
But it can shoot the whole day. And, you know, I could start working on it in the morning and, you know, it could be evening when it's finally finished, and you know it can sometimes be a struggle then to get it uploaded or saved depending on the internet connection I have. You know, I would tell you that I definitely don't get paid enough from YouTube for this because a lot of these videos only make like $5 or $6 and I have put hours into making them. So if you like working for 25-30 cents an hour, it's for you.
This is Warren's hobby, though. This was what he wanted to do as a hobby. So I think sometimes it's gotten to be more.
It's you know, but it's in many ways I feel like we do this as a service, because when we were looking to retire and travel and do things, this content wasn't there.
Yeah.
Nobody was out there to show us how to do this stuff. We
And I
did
looked.
actually looked at International Living magazine, and we subscribed to that for several years before we retired. But there wasn't anybody doing exactly this type of stuff. There was a couple that we watched in Ecuador that was sharing some stuff about life in Cuenca, Ecuador, called Million JP. We watched them. They were doing a great service for the Ecuador community. But for the rest of the world, for other places, there really wasn't anybody doing this. And we didn't actually start off thinking we're going to do this type of a service of trying to share experiences and expenses. We thought we'd just do some typical tourist videos for our family and friends to watch, and that we were just doing this to have a record of what we've done. And it just kind of evolved during the pandemic of sharing information about what was going on to Ecuador, and we were getting views on videos looking for a specific type of content, and we just kind of evolved the channel to what people were watching.
Yeah, and it's been great. I mean, we get a lot of pet questions. You would not believe how many pet questions. We try to answer them so perfectly for you, because that was one of the hardest things we encountered, to get the dogs to Europe, get them to Ecuador, get them to America from Ecuador. It's a challenge, but it's not impossible. Oh, well, thank you. We appreciate, looking forward to your IL content.
And Mike, we appreciate you watching, and glad we were able to give you that information that you're looking for there.
Great.
And so on our website, we have a section that nothing is in there right now. It's called the International Living section, where we'll put the links for the videos when they get released. So if you go to warrenjulietravel.com, that will have the links for the videos as IL releases our videos. Then you'll be able to get that content there. And again, we have our Facebook group, so I'll release them to our Facebook group people too. But that's kind of fickle, because you put something on the Facebook group, and whether or not the people that are part of the group all get notified that there's even that there, you don't know. So somebody a lot of times you have to come there and maybe look for it. So make sure you put on the notices for notifications. I'll also put a notice into the YouTube posts. There won't be a video, but to just let you know that IL has released a video and where to find the link. So hopefully we can do enough to make sure that all of you that are our regular viewers, or hopefully new viewers, will tune in and check out those International Living videos we do.
Yep, and I'm sure we'll be doing quite a few live streams in Portugal as well.
Yeah, we think we're going to do more live streams going forward, because quite honestly, I could be lazy and be able to tell you guys things right now. It doesn't take any editing. We don't know what's going to happen during the live stream, of course, but for me to do an hour and 37-minute video, which I can't believe we're doing one this long, that would be impossible for me to do and edit and put that together on a regular video. So we've been able to give you guys a lot of information throughout this conversation. So guys, thanks for joining us tonight here in Bulgaria. I know it's morning, or if you're on the west coast of the US, afternoon in the United States, East Coast, and into the evening here in Europe and other areas. And
almost 9 o'clock.
Yeah, and I know we probably have people from Asia. So wherever you guys are, thank you for being with us tonight. Please subscribe if you haven't, and if this is your first time watching us. Please give us a like. It means a lot. So if you're on here and you haven't given a like, please do. And until next time, have a great day, everybody.
Ciao. Good evening.
Bye-bye.